China is pushing back against talk of an official visit to Taiwan by House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. Beijing is warning it will take strong measures in retaliation, including possible military action.
President Biden is balking at the timing of Pelosi's planned trip. Still, delaying her visit could be seen as caving to the Chinese Communist Party. National security correspondent Caitlin Burke has the story.
A trip to Taiwan would be the first by a sitting House Speaker in 25 years, when then-Speaker Newt Gingrich visited the island. As second in line for the presidency, Pelosi's presence would send a strong signal of support for Taiwan's independence.
I think that it's important for us to show support for Taiwan. I also think that none of us has ever said we're for independence when it comes to Taiwan. That's up to Taiwan to decide.
While Pelosi has not confirmed a visit, initial reports suggested an August timetable. And President Biden himself recently indicated the speaker should wait.
I think that the military thinks it's not a good idea right now, but I don't know what the status of it is.
Over the weekend, Joint Chiefs Chairman Mark Milley warned that China's military has become significantly more aggressive and dangerous over the past 5 years. But experts say it's unlikely the Pentagon would ask the speaker to cancel a trip.
We're going to have to absorb some kind of negative reaction from the Chinese, probably be worse than previous periods, but we can't imagine that it's going to be war.
Some concerned over the timing of a visit cite August as being the anniversary of the founding of the People's Liberation Army. There's also an important decision in November when the ruling Communist Party is expected to grant President Xi Jinping an unprecedented third term. Walter Lohman, director of the Heritage Foundation Asian Studies Center, points out there will never be a time frame when the CCP supports an official U.S. visit to Taiwan, and President Xi has nothing to prove.
He's in a very strong position within the party. He's about to get his third term, and he's put a down payment on a fourth term. He's consolidating power within the CCP. I don't see him as weak at all. I don't see him having to demonstrate anything.
The Biden administration, on the other hand, can't afford to show weakness. And Lohman says that would be the message if Pelosi cancels her trip.
First of all, it puts a lie to what we tell the Chinese all the time. That is that we have divided government in the United States. We have co-equal branches of government, and the president of the United States can't make the Speaker of the House go or not go. It's up to her. The second message it sends, and this one is really one that will be heard loud and clear in the region, is that there's a new sheriff in town. Chinese don't want us to go to Taiwan. They tell us don't go or we'll, unspecified, cause you trouble or whatever. And the president of the United States convinces the speaker that not to go.
President Biden has a phone call scheduled with President Xi in coming weeks, and there's speculation that he's balking on Pelosi's trip out of concern the call will be canceled. Lohman says it's more important in the long run that China understand it can't determine the parameters of U.S. foreign policy. Gordon?
Caitlin, how is Taiwan reacting to all of these threats from China?
Well, Taiwan has long advocated for these visits by congressional delegations, and so they're thrilled at the prospect of a Pelosi visit. But they also have to prepare for a worst-case scenario. So just yesterday in Taiwan's capital, there were air raid drills. And, this gives the military a chance to practice their response. It also gives the public a chance to understand what they would need to do if China attacked. And in the last year alone, there have already been several instances of Chinese warplanes coming into Taiwanese airspace. So you just never know when a military exercise is going to become the real deal. Gordon?
Well, explain to us why China is reacting so strongly. What do they think they have to gain by getting this to a crisis point?
We spoke with China expert Gordon Chang on that, and he says that Beijing has really observed the disarray going on in the Biden administration and determined that they can do whatever they want. They think they can call the shots in Washington. This is what Chang had to say on that.
It started with the fall of Afghanistan. It also continued with the failure to deter Vladimir Putin from invading Ukraine. And the Chinese, who generally think that we're done anyway, now have confirmation of that. So they have a very aggressive Chinese foreign policy establishment right now. But also, I think Xi Jinping has real problems at home. And so, therefore, he has a lot of incentive right now to actually create some military misadventure abroad.
Chang says that China has really made this a test of wills. And if the U.S. wants to save face, then Pelosi needs to go to Taiwan. Gordon?
All right. Well, Caitlin, thank you for that report. This is something we'll be watching. Does the Pelosi trip actually happen? And if it does, what will be the Chinese response? They said for decades, this is not something new, that there is a one China policy. They view Taiwan not as a separate nation state, but as a rogue province. Used to be part of China going back to the time of the emperors, and they want Taiwan to come back. They want to assert rule over Tibet. They want to assert rule over Taiwan, and they won't allow any foreign policy that doesn't recognize that. But in this mix, they've forgotten how to be a good friend. And what's happened in Hong Kong is a lesson for everyone, certainly a lesson for all the residents of Taiwan. They enjoy freedom of speech. They actually have free elections. They have a capitalist economy. They have all these things. They are remarkably prosperous. And to lose all of that, to say we're going to come under the military oppression of China and see crackdowns like Hong Kong saw, China missed a great opportunity. And there was great promise that there would be one nation but two systems and allow freedom and democracy in Hong Kong. But if you say anything against the central government, then there's an automatic crackdown. So will there be a military issue in Taiwan? I hope not. But if there is, I think China's learned from Ukraine they need overwhelming military action in order to take it, which is not good news for anyone. So let us pray and let's ask for peace